All right, everybody, welcome back here. And this time, we're not doing an album review tonight, but what we've got going is the follow-up to our ranking the Halloween franchise. So, if you guys seen this stuff before that I've done with ranking the Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Hellraisers, I always like to rank kind of their look in the movie, in their respective movies that they're in, kind of outside of not really looking at the film itself's quality, but just the look. 'Cause sometimes, you get like a really awesome look of a character in a shitty movie and vice versa. It can happen. Now, can the movie be affected by a bad look of a character? Yeah, as we saw, when this past ranking where I ranked Halloween 4 quite a bit, down due to the very strange looking mask, right? But I still dig that movie a lot. It's a really fun movie and everything, but I'm just saying that it can affect what goes down. So, it definitely comes into play here, but this is, as far as this goes, this is just the looks of Michael Myers being ranked, not just the masks, right? Just his overall presence, his look overall, but of course, mainly we're looking at the mask. As that's his, defining characteristic. But anyways, guys, let's take a look at these. We've got, I've compiled up 18 different looks for him, because some movies, he's got more than one look going on there. So, with all that being said, the worst one, to no surprise, it is CGI Michael from H2O, number 18. I mean, come on. You just had to go and do it. I mean, it looks like it's glitching out when you're watching the movie. I mean, it's just absolute dog shit terrible. I think just that alone, having to use CGI, or not having to, they could have, ran and got a mask or something, out of the trailer. I guess, I don't know. I think the story was behind that they left it in the trailer, the mask in there, and we're going to shoot the scene. They just slapped that on. No one will notice. Well, people have started to, if they already didn't, because honestly, it took me, I never noticed it until people pointed it out to me, but now that it's there, I definitely see what's going on, and can see it, and it's very clear. I mean, it is a very quick scene and everything, but damn, I mean, the little time it's there, it does its damage. And H2O's got quite a few masks in here. I will go ahead and say I didn't include the Curse of Michael Myers mask appearing in the H2O mask, because it's like the same mask, right? But it with like little to no difference at all there, because I guess you could say part Halloween 1 and 2's masks are the same, but they look quite a bit different through aging and stuff like that. But anyways, yeah, number 18, the very, very terrible, undeniable worst, is the CGI mask. Number 17, we got something from Return of Michael Myers, another blink and you miss it kind of thing, and that is the pink mask that appears, not just pink mask, blonde hair mask that appears in the school scene in Return of Michael Myers. Absolute terrible yet again. Think people won't notice it. To me, it was kind of the same case. I never noticed it until people started telling me, or I started seeing people on YouTube talk about it and stuff. Because like whenever I was a kid, I never really noticed it watching that movie. But man, now that I notice it, I know when it's coming every single time. And I'm just like, there it is, quick flash there, but of just pink and blonde hair. And it's another case. I'm pretty sure that what went down is they left it or grabbed the wrong mask or something. Grabbed one of the ones that they hadn't, bleached white or whatever they do, painted white. And they were like, we'll just use this real quick. No one will notice. Well, people did. So, it's kind of crazy. These two bottom entries, 18 and 17 here, are due to just laziness of the production crew or whoever was involved in that, not wanting to go and get the damn mask. It's like, dude, you got these weird And you know, both these movies, what's funny too, H2O being number 18, this mask here being number 17 from Halloween 4, both of them have more than one terrible mask. So that's kind of weird to think about too. But anyways, number 16, we look at another H2O one. This time I believe they call it the K&B mask. That's what I got labeled as here. I think I've heard it called, I think that was like the company who made that mask or something. Very alien looking. And it was going to be I mean, it was in a lot of the trailers and stuff for H2O. If I remember, I can't remember exactly if it appears. I think it may appear once or twice in the movie, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, there's a lot of footage of it out there. If not, but I'm pretty sure I saw it in the movie. Maybe I'm wrong. I know it just looks very alien looking, you know, and it almost looks like plastic has just been put on him. Very, very strange. I mean, thankfully, we didn't go with this as the primary mask for the rest of the film and for the majority of the film, because that would have made for some major problems. Like, it would have felt like a fan film. That's really what it looks like. That mask does. It just looks like a fake fan-made Michael Myers mask that, you know, go around and make a low-budget movie with, right? Just terrible, terrible looking. Then we've got number 15, and, you know, surprise here. Halloween 4, Return of Michael Myers, the main mask. This mask is so bad that I can't help but laugh in a lot of scenes in this movie when it's supposed to maybe be a little spooky. I mean, him raising up from the bed and just looking like a freaking mannequin, and it's just like it's really weird looking. And like whenever the electrocution scene goes on, you know, where he's at that plant or whatever, and you just the mask just looks awful in that shot too. In every shot it's in, really. Terrible stuff. This one, as I talked about a little bit already, and in my ranking of the Halloween franchise, this mask made this movie drop for me because even though I do love it and stuff, I have a lot of nostalgia for it as a kid. And as a kid, I don't really remember the mask being that bad. But man, just like, after, over the years, like whenever I watched this movie getting older and stuff, I was like, oh my God, that mask is shit. And it caused me to straight up laugh at most of the time that this thing appears. It's so weird. Do not like it at all. But that's our first, major main mask for a movie. You know, these other ones we kind of covered are some, side masks, one-shot deals. Number 14, but here's another major one for the whole movie. And number 14, we got Halloween H2O, the main mask. With the eyes being super visible. And that was apparently an intentional thing that the director wanted to do. Make Michael feel more human or something, which I don't like. I don't like how he looks. He looks goofy, with his eyes just like in a lot of these moments in this movie. And the sad thing is, too, it's like the mask, it wouldn't be that bad of a mask if those eyes were blacked out, right? It'd look pretty cool. But just how tight it is on his face. The hair looks pretty weird. I mean, almost looks like a lion's mane at times. I mean, it's just kind of a weird looking mask. It's one that doesn't, when he's walking around and stuff and you get like little glances of his eyes and stuff, I mean, it's still freaky looking at times. And it's not as goofy looking as the Return of Michael Myers one. But I mean, this is a pretty rough looking, again, not mask, but just fit because of how how tight it was around the face and just how big. So I guess really the mask is, I mean, it is a problem because how big those eye holes are and just the lighting and not having this hidden behind or, barely being able to see those eyes causes some problems for this one. And I've always disliked the masks, all of them in this, except of course the opening scene where they use the Halloween 6 mask. Number 13, we're going to go with the Rob Zombie Halloween 2 look. And I'm not talking about the intro dream sequence thing. That's a separate entry on this list. We're talking about the one where, it's got like kind of pieces of it kind of crumble off as the movie goes on. Now, I really don't like it when you can see like the majority of Michael's face with just like that thing just dangling, you know. And I don't like when Michael walks around without his mask and just puts it on whenever he's gonna kill. Because if you guys saw my ranking, I mean, I hate that movie, freaking hate it, terrible movie. But you know, the hobo Michael with the jacket and the hood, and where there's still a good portion of the mask on there. I mean, it's pretty badass looking. I mean, it's terrifying too. So it does that right. But I mean, overall, I would just rather not see, you know, any of Michael's face exposed or anything. But I mean, if they, you know, they should have at least left it damaged enough to where you didn't see, because it got more damaged as the movie went on, and more of it began to reveal his face, you know, and just it could have been if they would have maybe just left it where it was like just a little bit there. It maybe wouldn't have been so bad. But, you know, I don't think this is a terrible, terrible look, especially in the early stages of damage that it has. But, you know, it's not one of my favorites by any means. Number 12, Halloween Resurrection. This one was one that I used to actually like a lot, but over the years I've kind of like see what people are talking about when they say they hate this one. I don't hate it. I still think it's okay, but it almost looks like there's makeup on it or something. You can't see Michael's eyes a decent amount of time in this movie, but it's not quite as noticeable as like H2O, where it's like you can see his skin around his eye. I think he's got like you see, I got the picture pulled up here. I think they've even like painted under, you know, like where like around the eyes of the guy under the mask in this one black, which I guess kind of helped the case. But I mean, just it looks almost too shapely too. Like everything's so too defined on this one. But I don't think it's a terrible mask. Again, I just think it kind of just is a little too detailed and looks less like a, you know, just random faceless looking, you know, just shape. Not as faceless as the Halloween 4 with that much lack of detail, but it's like the Halloween 4 one did way too little detail on the face, and this one from Resurrection did way too much. So number 11, we've got The Revenge of Michael Myers, Halloween 5, and this is another one that is really strange. I mean, it almost looks like a witch or something, and I guess they cast this one off the guy who's playing Michael. They cast it off his face, and the neck is really wide and just kind of hangs over. But you know what? I gotta say this, because this one used to rank way lower. And I don't, like, love this mask or anything, but I gotta say, it is pretty freaky looking. I mean, that thing, the more I watch the movie, I mean, it's a freaky looking mask. You can't see his eyes anytime during it. It's even kind of the weird, like, you know, the longer nose and just the way it's shaped is just, I mean, it's creepy looking. And the longer hair and stuff he's got going on there, it doesn't really look too much like a Michael mask at all, but it's still freaky looking, and it is, you know, it does its job of bringing that fear factor better than I think, especially better than you know, like the H2O ones and that stuff, which I would almost put this one behind the Resurrection one. But you know, this one, I think not being able to see Michael's eyes overall just kind of saves it and makes it above that, because you know, I'm a sucker for Michael with just no eyes visible, or if they are going to be visible, let's make it very little. And this one, I mean, even though it does still kind of look goofy, this one almost just, it reminds me of like a, you know, especially when Michael used like the scythe with it and everything, like a Grim Reaper or something. So it's got a fear factor behind it. Now, number 10, we're going to go with the Halloween Kills flashback mask, which they made look very, very close, probably the closest they have ever got to that original look. But it almost looks too clean, too like wispy and smoky looking. But you know, it does look a lot like that original mask, but yeah, I just think it looks too clean and almost like it almost looks a little CGI, right? Even though it's not, obviously, but like that's how clean it looks. And um, but you know, I love seeing that they did do a flashback scene in that movie, and you know, got to make their own version of that original mask, which fits James Jude Courtney's head well. Like it really looks like that the 2018 Kills and Ends mask is the worn down version of this flashback mask here. So I mean, it does that job well, and it is freaky looking. But like I said, I just think it's too clean for I don't know if I would have issues with it being in the whole, like, if there was a whole movie with this mask, I maybe would be like, okay, let's, you know, it looks almost, again, kind of like a fan film kind of thing going on, but not into not as much as, you know, a lot of the ones below it. And it still is a freaky looking Michael mask. Then we go with number 9, and this is like the Rob Zombie paper mache masks that, like, you know, that he Michael wears in that insane asylum. And I'm not gonna sit here and count every single one of those he wore, right? The main one that was that orange one, you know. That's the one he broke out in, and if I'm not mistaken, I think that's the one he broke out in. I mean, that's the one my Rob Zombie Halloween figure comes with, the alternate head swap, you know. It comes with that orange paper mache mask, which that is, if I had to pick my favorite of them, yeah, that's the one. Almost looks like a jack-o'-lantern, right? But, you know, the very, very cool look. It looks, I mean, it's freaking scary. Very intimidating look. Obviously, I prefer a lot of the you know, the classic Michael looks above this, but I put it above all the ones below it because it is terrifying. Imagine seeing that hulking dude come at you with just paper mache put together mask like that. I mean, and just the way his long hair just kind of droops over it. You know, you can barely see his face under there. Very awesome look. And, you know, I maybe wouldn't have even complained if we got, like, let's say the whole Rob Zombie movie was, they added time into each of these parts, right? But let's say the origin story was like one movie, and like the majority of this origin story movie, we got him walking around like that. I probably wouldn't even have any issue with that. And they could have had like the end show him like get that mask back, and then you get that second half of the Rob Zombie movie. That would have been maybe pretty cool. I don't think I would have had a problem with that because of how badass this looks. So number 8, we're gonna go with Halloween Ends. I hate that movie, but you know, this is kind of it does take that base of the 2018 one, and Kills, and then now it's this one, super damaged, worn, almost looks moldy or kind of mossy looking. But I wish we would have got more of Michael in the movie doing the killing rather than the Corey kid, you know, taking that mask and wearing it and all that. But it is a badass look of Michael when we do get to see him in it. And I do like a worn down, you know, kind of grungy looking Michael sometimes. So I think it did its job well, showing like how decrepit Michael was in this one, and all the hell that not only he's been through, but he's put people through across this trilogy here. So I think it did that well. I'm excited NECA announced the figure for it finally, so I'm excited to be picking that up. But it doesn't look too different from the Kills one, right? So that kind of, I was hoping maybe we'd see almost even, well, I don't know if I'd say even more wear to it, but maybe, yeah, maybe a little bit more wear to it, but like in different ways than like the Rob Zombie Halloween 2, like not torn off pieces, right? But maybe just a little more wear to it to make it more distinctive from the Kills mask. Then we got number 7, the Halloween 2 Rob Zombie mask, the dream sequence, you know, where the rain's going on, it's got like the hair on it wet, and there's that big blood spot right here on Michael, and the mask is getting wet and drooping down, and just looks torn up to all hell. I mean, this was badass, man. I mean, like I said in my ranking video, that intro to Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, that little dream sequence there in the hospital and all that, just incredible stuff. This badassery, brutality. Michael is a fierce in that intro. And just the way the mask looks, man, after all the rain has hit it and everything, and just it's even more battle damaged than Rob Zombie's first movie, because it's taking place after that, of course. And just it just looks terrifying, man. You can't see those eyes under there. He's just like he's hulking around, man, and just the way he's like stabbing that nurse and everything. Just it's a brutal look of Michael here, and a brutal version of Michael altogether. But I think I wish we would have got more of that Michael. I would have even been okay if they would have kept him like that instead of doing the whole hobo Michael thing. So number 6, we've got Halloween 2. Now this one you can see his eyes in some shots, but not in the majority of them, I'd say. It's a case where it's like, okay, you get a couple glimpses, but when you do it all, like it looks, the way the mask fits Dick Warlock's head, it makes it look like evil looking. But yeah, like I said earlier, this is the same physical mask as the first movie, but they said, like, I've read where and heard about where they left the mask. One of the directors of the first one left the mask under her bed or something, all these, for a year or so, and between the filming of the movies, and got a bunch of sick. She was a big smoker, so all that got added to the wear of the mask, and the discoloration of it, kind of the yellowing look to it, and just kind of the hair's all kind of matted down and stuff. But it also just fits Dick Warlock's head differently, which I really like how it looks. I mean, it's kind of a tight fit, much like H2O. But yet again, you're not seeing those eyes all up, as like a prominent feature. So I mean, I really love this look. There are some freaky looking moments with this one, and who can forget the blood coming out of the eyes and everything. Just a very badass look. I love the figure of this one in particular, which I know they did like one that was like a solo pack of, but I'm glad I ended up getting the Dr. Loomis and this Halloween 2 Michael 2-pack, because I think that it was more accurate the second go around that NECA made the figure. Number 5, here we go. Rob Zombie's Halloween. The grungy, just torn up, tattered looking mask. Can you see his eyes in some of these moments? Yeah, but not for the majority of it. And I would say just the stature. You got the old WCW wrestler Tyler Mane, playing him. So he's just hulking, just freaking tall and huge, and just a terrifying presence. And I like the look of, and this goes for like the Rob Zombie 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I liked, instead of kind of the navy blue overalls, they went with like a more brownish, dark green colored coveralls, and to kind of make it look different. But just this is like a very well done, just worn down version of Michael. I mean, it's not too overdone or anything. The mask isn't falling apart, where like in the sequel, but it just, the hair's all crazy looking, looks really dusty, and just there's like little like cuts and stuff all over it that just makes it look just terrifying. Almost looks like a Frankenstein mask in a sense, but just how worn down and beat it is, but yet you still see that original looking Michael Myers mask underneath it. So then we go to number 4, and we're talking about the original look of Michael, the original mask and everything. And I know that's probably going to get me some shit, not putting that original at number 1, but it's all a different difference of opinion here. And I do freaking love that look of him. I really do. It's been my favorite before. And it is easily the most iconic look for him. And I just love how it fits Nick Castle's head and everything, almost kind of more loose on his head, and kind of makes it look a little different, like almost kind of pushed in a little bit. at times, but which not a bad thing. I mean, it gives it just a really freaky look, especially just out of the shadows. You see that thing coming through. Um, Such an amazing look. They did it. They did it just incredible on the first go with this mask, which is, you always hear about. It's always crazy hearing about like stories about like this mask and the hockey mask becoming a major thing in Friday the 13th. It was just these little happenstance things that just happened to go down that made these iconic images for these horror villains. So yeah, just there's nothing wrong to be said about this original mask. I think it is just absolutely incredible. Zero things wrong with it. I just happen to like some of these other ones more. And number 3, The Curse of Michael Myers. I know some people tend to not like this one as much, but you know what, man? There's something about this look, this movie, as you can see in my rankings, right? I just love, man. It's got its own feel to it. The Michael in this is just dominant, like very, very menacing and powerful, and the mask it reflects that so well in this movie. It almost looks like there's like a little bit of a smirk or something going on, or like a frown going on. Like it I don't know how exactly they did it, but the mask is still like emotionless, right? But it just at times it looks like you can almost just feel the emotion going through Michael, and it almost kind of feels like sometimes that mask is kind of reflecting it, because you can kind of see in that blank expression how it could fit both, an angrier Michael, or just like, I mean, the mask is so well done in this one. It kind of looks almost clay-like in some shots of it. But, that doesn't bother me at all. I just think it's such an awesome look for Michael. I love the gray coveralls. And, again, just the menacing look of this Halloween 6 mask makes it cracked at number 3 for me. And I've seen a lot of people kind of have this mask grow on them lately as well. But for me, I mean, it's always been, well, it used to be kind of in the middle for me, but like as the years have gone by, man, it just keeps growing on me, and I just freaking love, love, love this version. Number 2, we're going to go with Halloween Kills. And this is how you age a mask as well, even though it's supposed to take place in the same night. Halloween 1 and 2, they were supposed to take place in the same night, but that was a lot of wear that went down, right? Those two masks look quite a bit different. This is just like that 2018 mask, except it's all burnt, on one side of it. And it just looks badass, man. The crispiness of that mask, it just makes for some menacing and just very dark, creepy looking moments and shots in that movie. And especially him coming out of the fire, in that intro where he's walking and the fire's all behind him, and you just see all the extra detail of that burn damage and everything on there. Just absolute badass, man. There's so many moments in this movie where you just look at that mask, you're like, damn. And it's intimidating. It's scary. It's just, I think it's the perfect way to kind of age a mask, especially in a trilogy, kind of how they went along with it. Like I said, though, I wish they could have maybe aged this even more than they did in Ends, for, to really make it look quite a bit different, because all 3 masks look similar in the trilogy. I mean, they're pretty much the exact same, except with the more and more wear going on it. But they all also have their differences that make them stand out more so than the others. But except Ends kind of, divvied off there and didn't go too far into it. But Kills and the 2018 one, they both have their very distinct characteristics. This one being like the burns all over the mask and everything. Not only that, I mean, you got Michael with the bandaged up hand. I mean, he just, after the war that went down, in 2018, all that damage is there. Just fantastic look. It's my girlfriend's favorite look of Michael. And hey, I see why. I mean, hell, it's my number 2. But if you use process of elimination, number 1 for me is that 2018 one, man. The same as my favorite movie in the franchise, 2018 Halloween. This one, you talk about aging the mask perfectly. I think this is it. You still see it's got the kind of graying look, but not as far as like the Rob Zombie graying and browning kind of look of the mask, still got that, ghost-like feature to it. And it's just all the just kind of wrinkles and, crinkles in the mask and everything. And it really fits the character of Michael in this trilogy well, like an aged Michael. But man, just that scene, and it gives me goosebumps to even just talk about it when he puts that mask on after getting it out of the trunk, dude, and just slams that thing down. I'll never forget seeing that for the first time in theaters and just being like, it's on now, and this is another one case where there's so many great shots of this mask in there in the movie, and just very, very creepy look. I think, as you can see here, I think the trilogy just nailed the mask overall, because even though Halloween Ends mask ranks quite a bit lower than 2018 and Kills, I think that overall this newest trilogy really nailed the mask and made it look terrifying. And 2018, just my favorite Halloween movie, my favorite Halloween, or my favorite Michael Myers look, stature, mask, all of it, man. Because he is, again, just a force to be reckoned with, and that mask is as menacing as ever. But anyways, guys, that's my rankings of all these Michael Myers looks. Maybe in a couple years, someone else will kind of get a hold of the franchise, reboot it. We'll see some different stuff going on. But as of right now, that's what we've got with all these Michael Myers masks. And I would love to see your guys' rankings of these. I always love looking and comparing and talking about what we like and dislike about these different movies and these different looks of Michael. So that'll be fun, because, maybe some of y'all like Part 4's, Return of Michael Myers masks more than I do, because I definitely don't. But if you do, maybe there's something you're finding in it that I'm just not quite, catching. And maybe some of the ones that I love, y'all don't really like all that much. I know there are some haters of like the Halloween 6 mask out there, but that's the fun of this stuff, just comparing and talking about it. Very cool and fun stuff to look at with these franchises and everything. So anyways, guys, thanks a ton. Don't forget, we've got more wrestling reviews coming up. In fact, I watched a pay-per-view earlier tonight, Payback. Just got over, just wrapped up not too long ago. So got done with that. We'll be posting that review. We got AEW All Out coming up this weekend. And of course, we're going to start next week, coming up, the Merciful Fate album review series. So stay tuned for all this fun stuff we got coming up, guys. Like, subscribe, and comment.